Hey everyone, Digital David here. Today in this video, I'm excited to be checking out the Dreame X40 Ultra. Dreame did send me the sample, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Here's a look at the retail box and packaging. We learn about the key features right here on the front of the box. So we have our extendable and liftable side cleaning brush, our mop extend technology where the mop is able to swing out to get those hard to reach areas, 12,000 PA suction power, mop self-cleaning with warm hot water. We also have washboard self-cleaning, which is pretty cool, and mop rewashing and floor remopping. So basically it can identify dirty areas, mop and wash them, come back, clean up the mop pad and go back and clean them again to make sure there's not going to be any streaks or anything left over for those really dirty areas. This is really a smart and capable robot vacuum and mop. Let's look at the side of the packaging here. All those features we just talked about mentioned in further detail. Then we're looking at the back or the front of the box again. And then those other features expanded out right here on the side for you to learn more. Now let's go ahead, let's open this up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our product literature consisting of a full user guide and manual as well as a quick start guide. Next, you'll notice we have our two mop pads right here, followed by a multi-purpose cleaning tool. We got a brush on this end, and then we have a built-in detangler on the other end, and we can actually open this up to extend it out a little bit as we see fit. Next, we have our multi-surface floor cleaner right here, shrink wrapped and sealed for us, which is great, so it's not going to spill or leak out during shipment. Next, we have an extra vacuum bag here, followed by our power cord and cable. And then last but not least, we have the RoboVac and mop right here, as well as the base station. Let's look at those in more detail. The base station arrives in two pieces, where we have the main station here, and we have a ramp that'll snap in to the bottom of the unit. Looking at the station in more detail though, we'll start on the front. You'll notice an indicator light up here, Dreame's logo and branding. We have a caution hot water warning right there, but we can go ahead, we can pull this out to reveal our vacuum self-emptying bag already installed. So two total, one extra one and the one already in the unit. And then on this side here, we have our cleaning solution option. So take a look at that. You can pour the solution right in there. Built in, it will proportion that out automatically for you. And then further down, we have our self-emptying, our charging, our washing, drying, and base station cleaning feature. You can see all that up close right here from the overhead camera. Self-empty channel, there's the charging contacts, there's where the water is going to come in and out for cleaning. And this piece at the bottom is removable, so we can easily wash and clean as needed. So take a look at that. Very simple, straightforward, and very advanced too. It has the latest and greatest here from washing, cleaning, and drying not only the vacuum but the station as well. Now here's your side profile and the other side profile. Now we're looking at the very back. Power cord and cable plugs right in here. Built-in cable management, on and off switch. Got a little grip option up here too, if you ever need to move it around. Additional product info towards the bottom. And then looking at it from the bottom, it nearly fits in frame, but here's the back side of the base unit right here with some grip feet. And then moving right along to the front of the unit where the ramp clips on, you'll see how flat and flush everything is, so we can just rest on your floor. And looking at the very top, we can open up the lid right here to reveal our dirty water tank and our clean water tank. While both tanks are similar, obviously they have their differences. We have different colors as well as different use cases, clean and dirty. And inside, internally, we have a little bit different setup here. So we have a float valve right there for the dirty water tank. And then it just snaps shut with a nice carry handle. You can see it from all different sides and angles. And there's a look at the bottom. And then our clean water tank, similar concept, handle, clip right there, but we don't have the float valve anymore inside. And we'll look at this from all different sides and angles as well. Don't forget to snap in the bottom place. Just line it up, follow the instructions directly on the station itself, and just gently press it into place. Now this is all set and ready to go. Now on to the RoboVac itself. Front and center, we have our LiDAR navigation module. Down at the bottom, we have our Dreame logo and branding. We have 3 different control buttons here: spot cleaning, power, return to home. We can open up the lid to reveal our internal dustbin and QR code for setup. Take a look at the dustbin right here from all different sides and angles. Get a feel for how this works. This is where it self-empties out of. This is where all the contents initially get vacuumed into it. And then up at the top, we have our filter right here that we can open up and remove as needed. And we can empty out the bin or clean it occasionally as desired. But that filter just pops right back in there and everything snaps shut. And there's a look at the vacuum with it removed. You might notice too, we have 2 icons right here. One's going to be for our Wi-Fi network, and I believe the other one's going to be a reset button and switch there. Now we'll look at it from the side. So front and center, we got our AI action system here with cameras, sensors, and lights. This is going to be top of the line for object recognition and navigation around your house. Moving right along, we have our navigational bumper right here. Wanted to show you its field of movement. Then looking along the backside, self-empty channel here for the contents of the dustbin to be vacuumed out. Take a look at that. Pretty sweet. That flap just opens up. Then you'll notice charging contacts, additional sensors, and where our water can be refilled. Some venting along the sides. You'll notice we have a sensor suite on this side. And then we're back to the AI action system on the front. And looking at the unit from the bottom, we have our omnidirectional wheel. We have cliff sensors to detect any drop-offs. We have our already pre-installed side cleaning brush that will swing out to clean around corners in those hard-to-reach areas. Spring-loaded drive wheels. Our main roller right here is going to be a rubber brush to beat and agitate to get everything off hard floors and carpets. No bristles there at all on this brush. And then down here in the bottom, we have our mop pad installment area. So this one's going to be able to swing out just like the side cleaning brush. It's going to kick out and mop further out than the vacuum. And to install these, very simple and straightforward, just magnetic. And we even got a voice prompt letting us know the mop pads have been installed. Now let's charge it up, fill it up, and try it out. with our first clean out of the way, let's go ahead and look at the results. First up, let's take a look at the contents in the dustbin. So I intercepted this and made sure that it wouldn't self-empty on its own. So we could see exactly what it's vacuuming up right here inside. Filter check. Disgusting. Look at all that really fine dirt and dust that it's trapping in there. It's great that it's not just exhausting that and spreading it all throughout the house. And then our dustbin is packed full to the brim right here of pet hair, dirt, dust, and debris. Let's dump it out. This is so gross. Oh, sick. So we got most of it out right there. Here's a piece of grass. Look at all the pet hair and human hair, and then the really fine dirt and dust mixed in, and then a lot of crumbs, particles. I see some grass clippings, a leaf right there. You get the idea. This is what you can expect around your house. Ooh, there's a dead fly. Zzz. Anyways, that's what you can expect in a real world environment. It's my dog, and he has long hair. I have 2 daughters with long hair, and my wife also has long hair. So there's some realistic contents you can expect, and this is just after only 1 clean. Now looking at the underside, you'll notice our side cleaning brush right here is tangle free. That's great to see. And our main cleaning brush looks awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm not seeing any hair front and center, maybe a little piece here or there. When we look at it up close on the sides, really not bad. We have some hair buildup over here. Very common, but usually you'll see hair tangled on the, front portion, the main portion of the brush. So much noted and noticeable improvement there. And then the mop pads look brand new. Again, it washes and cleans and dries itself, so those look great. No discoloration, dirt, or anything left behind. And maybe you're wondering about the base station as well. Well, I took off the removable plate here. It's a little bit wet as expected, and a couple of pieces of hair, but that's it. Very, very clean. Now, let me give you an overview of the Dreame home app. This is the main screen you'll be at for the X40 Ultra, where we can see our battery percentage. We have our play or clean button, our home button to return back home to charge. We also have that little video icon. We can select that for live video monitoring. And we have a shortcut button as well as our go to the device. So we'll select that, and now you'll see our previous clean. Take a look at that. We have some key specs up at the top for you. And then we have a very detailed map. It is so cool what this technology is able to do and accomplish. So let's zoom in. First, we'll see the vacuum currently drying on its charging station. There's our row by row cleaning pattern. This hot mess here is our kitchen table and chair legs. So that's what you're seeing there. And it has these little icons you can select, and it identifies obstacles all around your house. So it recognized the chair legs here with a 79% possibility that it's an obstacle. And you can help build out that database right there. It nailed it. That's perfect. We can move right along. Here we go. We have one that says power cord. That's not a power cord. But anyways, that's pretty cool. We'll go over here. So it identified shoes, and guess what? Those are shoes right there. Look at this. Amazing, amazing, amazing technology. The important thing here is even if it doesn't get everything perfect, chances are it is an obstacle to the vacuum, and that's great. That's really what you want at the end of the day. This is cool too. Even identified fabrics there for the shag rug. Now what's interesting is it still went up and cleaned on that rug, which is great. That's what I want. So very detailed map that's built out. Love, love, love the feedback that we get right there. There's so many settings to go over. I'm just going to quickly show you a couple of key things that you need to know. So while we stay on this screen, you'll notice to the right side of the map, we have a couple different map icons. We have map display settings here. If you want to view a 3D map, you can. We have our map editing icons here. So pick and choose what you want to do to the map. So we can change the rooms. We can add a cleaning sequence. Virtual thresholds, ramps, we can identify those. No-go zones, walls, you can add furniture, you can support multi-floor mapping. There's so much you can do in the mapping department here. We'll come back to the live video monitoring. I will show you that. Then we have our clean settings. You can use Clean Genius and forget about it, or you can use a custom clean. Choose your cleaning mode, choose your suction power, choose how wet you want the mopping to be, mop wash frequency, and what route do you want, quick or standard clean. All of that can be done right there from the main screen. Below that, we have our room or zone clean options, as well as our clean and dock buttons again, right there for us. So if we hit the dock button, it gives us some basic information, and then we can go right into the dock settings, which we'll do right here. And you can see the different options that we have. We can adjust water temperature, all of our wash settings, different wash modes, dry time, auto empty, different options there for it. And then we can clean the washboard base manually, and it walks you through instructions for cleaning the base. Now we'll go look at some more settings in the top right hand corner so we can view our cleaning history. So take a look what we just saw. It documents for us and keeps a running log of all of our cleans. Then we can set this on a schedule. We have some carpet settings. How do you want the vacuum to handle carpets? Do you want the mop to detach? That's one of my favorite features. I love that we have that option. It's so cool. Do you want it just to raise up and keep the mop pads on? Vacuum and mop, avoid, ignore. And then do you want to clean carpets first? I mean, there's so many customization options within the app. They give you so many controls. Here's some floor cleaning settings. So you can toggle those on or off as you see fit. Next, we have our mop extend settings here. I definitely recommend toggling on all those that you can. Again, tons of controls. We looked at the dock settings. You can fine tune the obstacle avoidance. If you have pets, you can turn pet care on. There's the pictures if you want it to take pictures, which I always do. So I turn that on. And then it's got fill light if you want the light to come on. It can fill in areas that are dimly or poorly lit. And then we have our real-time camera settings. We have more functions here. I wanted to show you this just because they have a really cool off-peak charging feature that you can toggle on right there if you want. So it can help you save energy and money. And then you can set the charging time and end time. So save some money. Maybe you're on solar, that sort of thing, right? There's just a lot you can do. I think that's really clever and a cool feature. Resume clean, child lock, you get the idea there. We actually have a remote control too where you can manually drive the unit around. And then we have a breakdown of like our accessory usage, when it's time to conduct maintenance. Very detailed and thorough. We can share the device, we can update its firmware, and then we can delete the device. Now it's live video monitoring time. Take a look. We're into the live view right now where we can drive the vacuum around, take photos and videos, and just patrol our home environment. Great to check in on pets while you're away and out of the house. Also, if you don't feel like driving, they have a couple cool modes here. Basically, you can just pick a point on the map. It'll go there, and then it'll go back home. Or we can select the other option here, where we can select multiple points and it will cruise to those areas and then come back home. So in this case, let's just choose this one spot, and then we'll come here too, kind of contrasting the different lighting environments here, and we'll watch it in real time as it goes out and cruises. And then we'll just go back here and wait and enjoy, and we can snap some photos and videos. But here we go. I'm taking a video. You can record up to 1 minute videos. So it's leaving the station here. It's going out. I sent it to a bathroom that has the light off. So hopefully it goes in there and you can see the lighting environment. So we have natural window light, a couple overhead lights on. Very typical lighting environment that you'd find in your own house. But there's the bathroom. Let's see if it makes it in. And once it gets to the spot, it will then spin around 360 for us, which is cool. All right, look at that. So cool. The light did not come on, but we can manually turn it on. Look at that. There we go. All right, so first spot complete. Now we're going to the second spot. We'll record video again. It patrols for us. And now it's returning back home. Super responsive, all on its own, all automated. Great way to quickly just dispatch it throughout your house. Maybe you heard a noise. Again, maybe you want to check on your dog, your cat, nanny cam, whatever it may be. It's nice to have this option to have the robot navigate around your house. And if you're concerned about privacy, you don't have to enable this feature. They do have a code for you to enter and a video recording light, so you know that it's recording. And it can give you an audible sound letting you know too for your protection. But there we go. It's finding its way back home, making its way up to the charging station. Pretty cool. Precise, lining up, returning to charge, and then you'll see the status should change at the top once it's back in, just waiting for a new task. Video just finished. All right, vacuum still lining up. That looks pretty good. Waiting for tasks. There you go. Live video monitoring. Pretty sweet. Now, how does the Dreame X40 Ultra stack up against the competition? Well, let's take a look. We'll be going over some key benchmarks and tests, as well as some key features for this particular vacuum, and we'll be comparing it not only within Dreame's own lineup, but also with the averages from the over 60 plus RoboVacs that I've personally tested myself. So first up, we're looking at max suction power. This is measured in PAs. This has the highest suction power we've ever seen at 12,000. The previous winner and holder of that record was the Dreame X30 Ultra at 11,000, and the Ecovacs T30S and the Yeti M12 Pro Plus, all at 11,000 PAs. Now we are into 12,000 PA territory. Dreame's brand average is 5,700 PAs, and the overall average typical RoboVac suction power is 5,000 PAs. Next, let's take a look at max CFM. So we measure this in-house. Typically, the higher the suction power, the higher CFM, but it doesn't always work out to be 1-to-1. In this case, that holds true. So even though we had the highest suction power, we don't have the highest max CFM. So 8.7 compared to Dreame's average of 8.9. This is still on the upper side of the Dreame lineup, but there are a couple that go up to about 10 CFM that skew that a little bit higher. Compared to our average RoboVac, you'll notice we're a couple of points better. 6.9 for the average versus 8.7 for the X40. Now, we can talk about those numbers all we want, but how does it actually perform? So in our carpet deep cleaning test, we got a score of 100 out of 100. So we got a perfect score with our coffee ground cleanup where we embed it in carpets. Now, you will still find a little bit around the vacuum itself when you remove the dustbin. There might be some on the brush roller or right there where it goes from the brush roller into the vacuum, but that's very, very normal. But in this case, we got a perfect score. Dreame's always score really high. They average about 95, which is good for 10 points above your typical average RoboVac, which is 85. So Dreame as a whole does really well cleaning carpets. Moving right along to decibels, this is how loud the vacuum is. We always conduct this test vacuuming carpets with max suction mode and any boosts and everything else enabled. So this maxed out at 79 decibels. Dreame's average is 75, and your typical RoboVac comes in at 70. Now that increase in decibels is going to be due to the increase in suction power, but the good news here is it's not really that much more noticeable. We're right on the fence where it would start to make a difference when we jump up around 10 decibels or beyond. But good news is, compared to your typical Dreame, it's not going to seem any louder, and it might just be a smidge louder than your average RoboVac. Now let's talk about battery life measured in minutes. We have 180-minute runtime. Dreame's average is actually 7 minutes more at 187, but the X40 is 30 minutes more than your typical average RoboVac. Plenty of juice to get through cleaning your house. If for some reason it doesn't, don't worry, you can go back home, recharge, and then resume its clean. So why we have such great runtime is due to the large battery capacity that this RoboVac has, 6,400 milliamp hours. The Dreame overall average is 5,500. Typically we find about 5,200 milliamp hour batteries in Dreame products, with their high-end ones like the X30 coming in with that 6,400 massive battery capacity. You'll notice this is almost double the battery capacity of your typical average RoboVac. Now, if you're wondering how tall the X40 Ultra is, it comes in at 3.8 inches, which is Dreame's brand average, and 0.2 inches greater than your typical RoboVac. But out of those 60 vacuums that we've tested, that includes a mix of vacuums with LiDAR navigation that are usually around that 3.8, 3.9, 4.1 inch range. Whereas if you don't have LiDAR navigation, you ditch that module. So our average actually goes down because we're going to have a lot of budget entry-level vacuums in that mix that don't have LiDAR, so they're actually a little bit shorter, which as a benefit to those owners is it can get maybe a couple more areas that typically a vacuum like this can't go under furniture-wise, but you're also missing out on some fantastic features. So even though this is a smidge taller than the average RoboVac, it's right in line with any other LiDAR-equipped vacuum. And from my experience, I would much rather have a LiDAR-equipped vacuum than one that's lacking LiDAR. Moving right along to dustbin capacity, this has a 300 milliliter dustbin that's actually 130 milliliters below Dreame's average and 120 milliliters below your typical average RoboVac, but that's very common for a vacuum like this that supports self-empty, where you don't need as large of a dustbin because it's capable of emptying itself. So you typically find larger dustbins on vacuums that don't have self-empty to prevent you from having to go make as many trips to empty the vacuum. But in this case, doesn't really matter. And to compound things, with the internal water tank that we have, that takes away even more bin capacity. But again, very common. And when the vacuum can refill and empty itself, it doesn't really matter. And no surprise here, our water tank capacity comes in at 80 milliliters. That's below Dreame's average of 150 and your typical average RoboVac of 235. But again, for both Dreame's overall lineup and your average RoboVac and Mop, if they don't support the ability to refill, wash, clean, and dry themselves, then you find larger onboard water tanks versus a model like this where it doesn't matter, so it can go back home and get water as needed. Another feature we're starting to see creep into more and more RoboVac and mops is the ability to have hot water mop washing. And our X40 Ultra comes in at 158 degrees Fahrenheit. That's tied for the hottest water available right now from a sample that we've looked at. Now, our sample size is a little bit small on this. We've had about 5 units that support hot water mop washing. 158 degrees is great to see. That's going to be about 9 degrees above Dreame's average of 149. And our typical average RoboVac with hot water mop washing is 152. I think our lowest is like 113. That might be in Dreame's lineup. And then the highest is going to be 158. And we've seen that on the T30S and the Yeti M12 Pro Plus. And another feature that's becoming more commonplace is mop lift height. So the Dreame has a 10.5 millimeter mop lift. So when it encounters carpets, it's able to lift up its mop pads and keep them out of the way. That's going to be almost a millimeter more than Dreame's average of 9.6. And it's going to be 0.2 millimeters greater than your typical average of 10.3. The highest we've ever seen is on a Roborock model that came in at 20 millimeters. 10.5 is very average and what you should expect today, and I really wouldn't want one any lower. Now I have a couple more features that I want to discuss because we haven't seen them before until the X40 Ultra came across our desk. The first one's going to be main brush lifting. This vacuum is smart enough to lift up its main brush. Really key to help prevent any sort of cross-contamination if it's mopping up a really dirty mess. You want to get that main brush roller up and out of the way. But you might be thinking, well, hey, David, doesn't this have a side cleaning brush? Wouldn't you want to get that up and out of the way too so it's not going to cross-contaminate? Well, yes you would. And good news is this supports that with its SideBrush lifting feature, which is pretty fantastic. But wait, there's more. This also has the side reach capability where that SideBrush can come out and clean in corners and hard to reach areas. It just flicks it out and it can get areas that you typically wouldn't be able to get with a RoboVac. It's a pretty sweet feat of engineering. You wouldn't think they'd stop there though. If the side cleaning brush can reach, the mop pad can also reach. So on one side of the vacuum, it can actually kick the mop pad out to scrub around table legs, under furniture, things along those lines. It's capable of spinning that mop pad out to get up close and personal to baseboards and anything along those lines. And this next feature is one that I'm waiting for competitors to start to have. I just haven't seen it yet. This is mop pad removal. So we looked earlier on at mop pad lift heights, And in this case, if for some reason that's still not great enough for you, this vacuum's capable of detaching and reattaching its mop pads on its own. So if you want to send it out without the mop pads to go ahead and clean your carpets, you can do that. So very, very capable. Now it's a moot point how high it can lift its mop pads because it can just leave them behind as needed and come back, pick them up, and use them as needed. Now, this next feature isn't included with the X40 Ultra, but it is something you might want to consider picking up. It's their tri-cut brush. It actually works on multiple models. So we tested it out with the main brush as well as the tri-cut brush, and there was a pretty noticeable difference between the two. Is it going to be perfect? No. But is it a much needed upgrade if you have a lot of hairy humans and pets in your house? Yes. Yes, it would be worthwhile if hair is something you constantly deal with. This does a really good job eliminating a lot of that hair. No RoboVac likes our torture test of using 8-inch long hair to vacuum up. It always gets stuck and wrapped around. This did a really good job helping to eliminate a majority of that hair. But again, not perfect, but a really, really good amount of hair was able to be eliminated and vacuumed up into the X40 Ultra. And the features keep coming. Next up is Clean Genius. So this has an upgraded camera and sensor suite to be able to identify and look around your house, right, and target certain areas for deep cleaning. It can detect stains and go over and clean those areas. It's also smart enough to rewash the mop pads as well as the floor in those targeted areas. Did I mention too, when it targets and sees those stains, it will also lift up the side cleaning brush to not contaminate things further. So if you got heavy stains around your house, this is able to see and process the environment on a whole nother intricate level. So everything we just discussed leads us to this moment. How much does the X40 Ultra cost? Well, you need to know that this is the top of the line. We're up at the upper echelon of what's possible with RoboVac's new release with the best of the best. That's where the X40 Ultra stands today on the market. So with that being said, there is going to be a premium for all the features that we discuss, as well as many features we haven't even discussed. So compared to your average Dreame RoboVac, this is going to be a little bit less than 2 times the cost. And compared to your typical average RoboVac, it's going to be closer to 3 times as much. But this is jam-packed full of the latest and greatest tech, so if you want the best of the best, you will have to pay for it. So where does that leave us in regards to the Dreame X40 Ultra? Well, let me share with you my final thoughts. Here's what you need to know. This is the top of the line, cutting edge, best of the best RoboVac and mop combo that's available today. You'll be hard pressed to find anything that has more features and more advanced tech than what you're getting here. Typically, you can find one competitor and pick and choose one feature over the other, but in this case, they really have done a really well-rounded job giving you everything that's available today. They're really pushing the boundary with the side swing out arm, the swing out mop pad, the ability to leave the mop pads at home. Those are all my favorite features on this particular vacuum. I do wish though that they included the tri-cut brush by default. That seems like a miss to me. When you're buying their flagship model, they should give you the best roller brush available, and that's clearly it within Dreame's lineup. So in the future, I hope they include that by default in the X50 or whatever, or if they want to start including it in the X40 Ultra, great. But I'd love to see that changed in the future, and I would like to see the object recognition continue to be fine-tuned. In this case, I had really high expectations, and it did a fantastic job on the common things you'd find around your house. And it really excelled with cord recognition. I had this really tiny cord that I like to test RoboVacs with, and usually all of them without fail run it over and suck it right up. This avoided it every time, which was awesome, and I was really encouraged by that. But on the opposite side of that, this did not do a good job with the pet waste samples that I had. Most, if not all, that have object recognition can avoid the larger pet waste sample. Most struggle with that tiny one. This struggled with both of them. Everything else it was flawless on, but pet waste really seems to be its Achilles heel right now. But I'm also thinking that can be addressed and built out in the future. We've had other Dreame models that have done better, so not really sure why that's the case. But again, future updates can continue to enhance that AI and processing, building out an image database to make that even more, foolproof and less error prone. But overall, really fantastic cleaning experience. In this case, it's a top of the line model, so it's kind of like driving a Ferrari. What's not to love about it? But in this case, there still are some things that can be improved. But overall, this is setting the standard for everybody else to catch up to and then exceed.